Alright guys, so today I have in this box is the upgrade kit for the Infinity Flow S1. I did have to pay for this, but Nathan over at Infinity Flow definitely hooked me up with a discount code that was very generous of him. Alright, this is what's included in the box. New PTFE tubes, which is nice because I've already taken the PTFE tubes out of this. In case you're wondering where they're at, I've already done that. And the other gears. So these are the gearboxes, and this bag is the filament junction. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through on how to replace those parts on this. The issue I'm having is once one spool runs out, it goes to load the other one, but it gets jammed in the filament junction area. I tried everything, new tubes, all that. So I'm hoping that this upgrade kit will fix that issue. If it does, that'd be amazing. I have a couple more that are actually kind of having the same issue. So hopefully I will be able to order more parts and get those fixed and up and running. But I'm just going to use their kit install guide here. I'm just going to follow the simple instructions on here and kind of walk you all through it. It should be pretty straightforward, I hope. Alright, so let's just get into it now. I'll put these parts over here until I need them while I tear this thing apart. Alright, just to let you know what this kit does not add. It does not add the Wi-Fi connectivity like the S1 Plus. It also has no app integration, adjustable preload force, and electrical safety features. Alright, here we go. Step 1. Disconnect lower Bowden tubes from the P1 Plus or S1 Plus instead of the side. And then it looks like this just pops off. Wonder if I can do that with these on. I might have to take these off. Actually, it looks like I will have to take those off. Don't know if I got a long enough one of these out here to do so easily. Alright, so just some Allen screws here. Might skip through this part. That way you guys aren't bored to death. Just a couple screws here to take off, and then we'll be good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these off, and then I will jump right back into it. Alright, I got those off now. That was actually pretty simple. I probably could have just kept the camera rolling. But anyways, it was just 2 screws here, 2 screws on the other side. Yeah. Alright, so like I said, now it says that we pop this cover off here. And now we remove 3 Phillips screws holding the cover on. So I'm assuming this as the cover they're talking about. There's 3, so you got 1 there, and then 1 there. These things are in there, I'll tell you that. Alright, don't lose those. Didn't come with replacement ones. There's 2, and 1 more in here, and I do not think this screwdriver will work. Let me get a screwdriver from the toolbox. Should work. And there we go. Alright, so those 3 screws are removed. Carefully lift the case off. It should come off easily. Unplug the main power switch in the case to get it off all the way. Alright, let's see what they're talking about here. The power switch is here, so gotta be, alright. So yeah, right here in between these, main power switch. Pretty easy. I'll set this off to the side. Alright, now it says disconnect the filament junction wire from the PCB. Filament junction wire. So that's the filament junction here. Unplug this wire, which is a pretty thin connector, so it's possibly easy to break. Alright, that's done. Disconnect the gearbox run out sensor from the PCB. Alright, so these are the run out sensors on this side, because these are the gearboxes. Again, it's just that connector there, that connector there. These are much bigger ends, so you don't have to be as careful. Alright, those 2 are disconnected. And now it says unscrew the gearboxes from the S1 and remove them. So it's talking about these screws here and remove them. So let's go ahead and get that removed. I wonder if I actually have that size of this. I do. Let's see if it's making it any quicker. These are some pretty long screws, actually. Pretty sure I don't have to take them all. Well, I do have to take them all the way out because I got to put them in the new one. So. Pretty long screw. That's one junction box off there. that's one of them that's off. It's one of the old ones. So again, we'll put this off to the side. Be careful. So once you take those screws out, this just falls. It's very loose. So just keep that in mind when you remove them. Let's take both off. So we'll go ahead and do both sides. And it looks like they go ahead and unplug it as well and remove the motor. Okay, yeah, so they remove one, then go to the other side. So that's what we'll do. Remove this. There it goes. That gear, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, it's actually pretty dirty and possibly a little worn. I actually have a metal brush here. I'm going to clean this, do it away from everything. All right, now that that is clean, that looks much better. It now wants me to do the other side. So I'm not sure if it matters which way or which motor goes on which side, but I'm gonna keep them. This one on the right, this one on the left, just so I know. Now we gotta do the same thing on the other side. Off there. See if I can just take these out real quick. Well, I thought it'd be faster with my hand, but that is not the case. Definitely not the quietest little drill, but it works very well. First one I got was garbage. This one works pretty good. All right, there's all those screws and this again. Just put off to the side because we're replacing it. Same with this. Go ahead and unplug it. Again, it's just right there. Just as simple as unplugging. And there's a little groove here that allows you to slide this out. This one's the same. It is pretty dirty, so I'm gonna clean that up again with the wire brush. Just gonna clean it off camera. That way I don't get all this stuff all over my work area. And you're not missing anything. All right, there we go, much better, much cleaner. Keep it on the side. All right, so those are off. All right, I skipped a step, so remove the gear. All right, so I got those removed. So it wants me to flip these gears over. All right, let's see if I have the right size tool. That's smaller than that to get these off. All right. So there's just a little screw inside of here. Well, if I can get this thing out now. You just have to loosen up to get this off. And it slides off just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything up while I'm at it, just because I want to make sure when it goes back together, everything's fine. All right, this does say to use thread locker. Unfortunately, I do not have any on hand right now, so that will have to come at a later date. And I'm just kind of gauging, looks like just a smidge at the top is what they leave. Doesn't really tell you about how much, so I'm just going to kind of go by the picture on how much to leave. I think it's about close right there. Actually, let me see if I have a tool and I will tell you all about what it is. It is right at 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters, what I did it at. We'll see if that works or not. Alright, so that one is done, cleaned up, turned around. Same thing with this one. Actually going to tighten this up just a little more since I don't have thread locker. Don't want to over tighten it, but I definitely don't want this thing coming loose. All right. Let's see with this. Let's loosen this up. Clean that shaft a little bit. Flip it over. Kind of do the same thing on this side. Clean it up. Let's just make sure it's close to the same. Man, 0.1 millimeter off. That is definitely close enough for me. And let's tighten this down. All right. So that is flipped. Now it says line up the motor and the gearbox on the S1 frame. All right, so I guess we're ready to start opening up some of this stuff. We have the gearbox. Let's see what side goes to what. Are they the same? So one's an A and one is a B. Yes. So it looks like A is on the right, B is on the left. Alright. Let me just go back up. Let's take a look at the picture, make sure. I'll scroll down, make sure we got it right. Alright, so why this is like this, the blue gear should be on top. So, correct. Yeah, this will go on this side. This will go on this side. All right, go back up. Let's make sure we line up these gears. So, slide this in, just like so. And then, so line up the gearbox. So, that was actually pretty easy. All right, I'm assuming we're going to put the screws back in. And tighten those up. Yep, install holding thing, so. You gotta make sure, because the threads are actually on the motor, so you gotta make sure you line up all the holes, all 3 holes correctly. Now just enough to hold it on there. Don't want to snug it up yet until we get all the screws in. And then this one. All right, go back and tighten them all down. This is plastic, so don't over torque anything. That's definitely pretty good there. And same thing on the other side. Take this, slide it in, line it up. Take these screws. Felt it go in there. Same with this one. And then one more here. All right. There that goes. That was pretty easy. So far, this is not bad at all. All right, so let's plug in the filament runout sensor, gearbox runout sensor. Okay, so yeah, we just plug these back in to where they go here. Same with this one. This will go here. Plug in the motors again. All right. So again, you'll just plug them in there, and then the motors, just plug those in. When did they take off? I forgot those two. Okay, so I should have already taken this off. See what happens when I just rush through things. All right, so 2 more Phillips head screws on this, just to replace the junction box here. There's the old junction box. You can tell the old versus the new one just by the color. Those handles there. Put that off to the side. Alright, let's grab this. I think the easy part's almost over, and then we got to recalibrate it. So that's back. Let's go back down to where. All right. So we gotta line this back up here. Line up the 2 screw holes, and then enter. This guide that they have online is pretty good. It's pretty straightforward. So the only thing I'm really worried about so far is thread locker. Maybe I'm mistaken and most people have it laying around. I do not. So if they were to provide just a little bit of that with this kit, I think that would be amazing. But based on the size of the screws, it's probably not worth it because you only need 2 or 3 drops. All right, so that's down. Again, you're screwing into plastic, so do not over tighten this. And then install the Phillips head screws and plug it in. So just plugging in this cable here. All right, so that is installed. Now, for the interesting part, I'm going to take these out, the FE tubes and new cover, old tubes, just those over here. All right, so now we got to install all the necessary firmware. All right, enter firmware update mode. Press and hold the button, the boot button, while holding the boot button, plug in the USB-C cable into your computer and the S1. If done correctly, the S1 light will turn white instead of red. All right, so on this board, there's a USB-C plug. I happen to have a USB-C cable here because my electric screwdriver actually takes USB-C to charge. Very convenient. All right, so hold this button down and then plug in, and it says it should turn white. Let me see if I gotta unplug it as soon as it turns white. Nope, I can leave it plugged in. I just released the button. All right, press and hold, plug it in. I'm not sure if it's white. Okay, it is white. Definitely like a greenish blue. But it's not red, so I'm assuming that's good. All right, here is the file they were talking about would pop up. It is on. Access device storage, open file explorer, it automatically popped up. A new drive name, yes, that is it. RPI. Alright. This is download the S1 firmware here. I've already actually downloaded it. You click that, it just automatically downloads. And this is for the preload force. So on the S1 Plus, if I'm not mistaken, you can adjust this with an app. On this one, it does have the settings, it looks like, but you're gonna have to update the firmware to the preload force that you want. They have low, medium, and high. This is the stock S1 is mid. I'm gonna just stick with that. If it doesn't work, I'll change it later, but for right now, I'm just gonna go with mid. Okay, locate the file in File Manager, drag and drop the download file device. The S1 lights will turn bright white once the upload is complete. It is now ready to calibrate. All right. So let's get the file here and here. All I'm gonna do is just drag and drop. Again, I'm getting the mid here. Just gonna drag and drop. Bright white. It is definitely bright white now. Okay, now it says it is bright white. All right, to calibrate. S1 only can be calibrated. Attempt to calibrate the S1 without the upgrade kit will not work. So you have to have the kit to do the calibration. Install the filament and just, okay, this is where I gotta install the cover. While leaving it plugged in, it looks like. And it just kind of snaps into place, it looks like. There we go. Yep. All right. Need to set the filament limit. So, oh, I got red light. Automatically failed already. Dang. That's not good. So yeah, it should have stayed white. Well, go figure. Probably took me too long. So, what do we do when it turns red? How to recalibrate? Enter mode. Press and hold the button shown in the image. Okay, it looks like we just gotta unplug it and redo it. Let's try that. Because it says it should have been, yeah, it should have stayed white until it turned green on each one, but it did not. So I'm going to unplug and we're going to go through the recalibration process again. I'm not sure since it just turned red. Yeah, it definitely turned red, but did not let me set it. So just be safe, I'm going to recalibrate it. All right, let me download this file here first. Download. It says this file will disconnect and reconnect it when. Alright. This is always fun. It's always great when firmware goes wrong, I'll tell you that. Alright. So here's that. Alright, let's jump back into this. I'll press and hold this button here. I guess the kind of good thing that happened, that way I can show you guys. Press and hold the button, plug it in, the lights are on, and it says locate, drag and drop. Okay, so now I just have to wait for this to pop back up. There it is. And drag and drop this into there. And it says yep. All right, so that looks like it flushed it. This did exactly what it said it would do. It would just do not unplug the board until it is reconnected to your computer automatically. Follow the instructions above to reinstall the firmware update. All right, so now that it rebooted and reconnected, now I unplug it. And then we go to the boot process again, and we do that all over again, which wasn't bad at all. So get this here, hold down the boot menu, your boot button, plug it in, lights are on. I'm gonna go with the mid again and drag and drop. All right, now we got all the lights, and then it says to press until it turns green. All right. Then the other side, I think I'll do the same. All right. So the light will turn green, then release. Does not touch the levers. Wait for the light to turn white, then green on each side. Did that, and then it turns red. It says the calibration sequence should finish, and both lights will turn red. Okay, they turn red, and you're now ready to use it. All right, so believe we are done. We have completed the process. Finish up. It looks like we can now unplug this from the computer and finish putting it together. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. We don't use this part anymore, so put that off to the side as well. And plug in the power. And tuck these cables back in. So there's a little groove right here for these wires to sit. I don't know if you can see on the cable. One right there, the one on the other side. So there's one there. Where is... I have 2 screws. I think one was actually under this cover. Yeah, there's one. Where's the... okay, so yeah, we have to take this cover back off. Now that it's calibrated, it shouldn't be an issue. And put these screws back in. Again, just hand tight, don't over-torque it. Make sure the cables are not being pinched. This one might be being pinched. Loosen it up a minute. Alright, they are good. And then the 2 screws on the side here. Well, dang it. Lost a screw. All right. Screw on this side. Might help if you had a magnetized screwdriver. All right, those are done. Put the cover back on. So put this cover back on, just kind of give it a squeeze, just enough to get over this lip here. And then there's 2 clips on the side, which I then just squeeze the top and bottom, kind of help go over it, just like that. All right, and then the new PTFE tubes, or Bowden tubes, whatever you want to call them, go in. I'm going to put it on this side first. All right, so I believe we are done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to test it. I'm just going to grab one of these older tubes here. I'm going to go ahead. Okay, so apparently the recording stopped, so which is all right. What I'm going to do now is just kind of test this. I'm going to just turn it off. Turned it on, didn't catch fire, so that's a good sign. Going to put the tubes in here. And here are the tubes, the filament. Also put it in there. I'm going to turn this on and let's see what we get. So when this runs out and it pulls through the sensor here, this should pull through. I was having a problem with it jamming at the junction box. So hopefully that has been fixed now. So again, let's see, it's about to run out. The printer would start pulling. Once it's past the sensor in here, this one should pick up, and it does. And we have a working Infinity Flow. All right, absolutely amazing. All right, guys, well, that was it. Again, I want to give a shout out to Nathan at Infinity Flow for giving me such a good discount to get these to make this video for you guys. Hopefully you learned something. If you have any questions, you can leave comments below. I think the next upgrade I want to get for these, because these are all the original ones, I want to get the cutters. So hopefully this video does good, so like and subscribe so Nathan will be tempted to send me maybe some cutters for this. All right, well guys, like I said, if you got any questions, leave a comment below. I'll try to answer them best I can. Till then, I will see you later.